Hi, it's the Constant Angler here. As you can see in front of me, I've got a reel. It's a low profile bait caster made by Kastking. A few of you might have heard of them. They're an American tackle company that sells direct from China instead of having a middleman in tackle shops, so they can keep the prices down. This is the Kastking Kapstan 300 Elite. It's the biggest bait caster they do. It has a gear ratio of 5 to 4 to 1, so 5.4 turns of the spool to every full rotation of the handle. That's powerful and gives you a lot of torque. It's designed mainly for the American market, for fishing for muskies, catfish, alligator gar, big fish, maybe saltwater as well. So have a little look at the reel. It's currently loaded with Cast Pro 65 pound braid. I've got marks. I've used it for 6 months, so this is a 6-month review. You can see it has a ratchet here. It has 8 to 1 ball bearings, 6 centrifugal brakes. I'll show you how you take that off and access them. They're inside. So you have this wheel here, and if you can, camera will focus, you can see open and close here. So you twist this black bit which opens it, and you literally just pull it off, and there you can see we have 6 blocks we can turn on or off. Centrifugal brakes, no magnetic brakes on this one. So to put back on, you just click back on and turn the dial to close. There we go. It has a reported 35 pounds worth of drag, which is enough for anything. If you look on other videos about this reel on YouTube, you will see that they've got alligator gar, huge catfish, halibut, all sorts of fish on it, so that's plenty of drag. It's a nice smooth drag, and it's a carbon and stainless steel drag. As I said, it's low profile. It fits nicely in the hand and it palms quite well on the rod. I've used it for 6 months now, and I can tell you that casting is very good. It's got a large spool. It will hold 230 yards of 14-pound line or 200 yards of 50-pound braid. Now I'm using this for lure fishing for pike in the UK, so that's more than enough for my needs. I could use it for boat fishing if I wanted to. It's a braid ready spool, and it's an aluminium spool. It has a patterned area. Unfortunately you can't see that because it's got the line on there at the minute, to which you tie your braid, and you can tie it direct because of that. There's no need for any sort of mono backing, and there's no slipping. As I said already, I pointed out, there's a ratchet. Lovely loud ratchet. Great asset for a reel, makes it more versatile. Both the drag and the tension end spool knob have clicks, quite audible. The bearings it has are shielded bearings, and they are saltwater approved, so you could use this reel in salt water apparently. It has drainage ports, so any water that might get in can drain out. Nice size handle, but it's not a power handle, but I mean it's good enough for what I want. If you wanted to go for bigger fish, you know, maybe you want to fit a power handle, which you can do. You can buy these things. They won't be from Kastking, they'll be from somewhere else. And EVA knobs. They could be a little bit bigger, but they do for what I'm using it for. There is a bit of plastic on the reel, on the level wind. The cage has some plastic in it, so well, that's a plus or a minus. It also has a line indicator, so if you see this little dial underneath, it's got different graduations on it. Hopefully focus there. Going from 65 to 10 pounds. The idea of this is when they say it's an elite reel, it's what they use on their reps use on the American bass circuit. So it's handy for people who have lots of rods. They can mark it to see what braid is actually on there or line is on there. Probably handy for them. Doesn't really matter too much for me, it's just an extra. So as I said, I've used this for 6 months. It's got the odd little dink, but it's a solid reel, I can tell you that. I haven't used it a couple times a week every week, that's not what I do. I've used it 2 to 3 times a month for the last 6 months, and performance wise I have no issues with it. I am actually quite impressed with it. But let's have a look at some negatives. So the side plate opening could be easier. This is a bit fiddly, even with dry hands and sat here indoors, and it tends to move this line counter anyway, which is counterproductive. If you're out and it's cold, then it's going to be harder work, so that's not ideal, but it's usable. I prefer if the plate actually remained attached to the spool, as it does with some of their other smaller bait casters. You know, there's no chance of the end plate dropping in the drink if that's the case. There's probably a bit more plastic in this reel than there would be in comparable reels. So we're talking sort of from Abu, Daiwa and Shimano. Its closest competition is probably the Daiwa Lexa, which is a little bit more expensive, another £50. If you're buying here in the UK, you can pick them up for about 149, whereas this is £99 delivered. Will this plastic ultimately affect the durability? It might not to someone like me who's not just pike fishing. I do other forms of lure fishing as well, so who's not constantly using this reel day in, day out. But I won't know, because it'll probably be several years down the line before it does, or we hope so. But it's something to bear in mind. But it still feels a solid reel. A problem you may have is when you order this, generally it's coming from America or China. I would guess that their QC isn't quite as hot as, say, the Daiwa, Shimano and Abu reels. And it's a heavy reel, so if something was wrong and it's coming for such a distance, it's going to cost you to send it back. So check out the returns policy if you're considering this reel, and decide whether this is for you, or you'd rather go to something closer to home. The ratchet, as you can hear, it's lovely and loud, but it's not the smoothest when lines spooling off. It's a little bit juddery. It's not bad, it's just not as smooth as the other reels I've already mentioned that do have a ratchet. Not all Abu, Daiwa and Shimano reels have ratchets. Remember, it is the ratchet that makes this a more versatile rod. If you're sort of free spooling for catfish or a gar or something that's going to pull line, then you need the ratchet on, otherwise you'll just birdie as soon as they pull line off. The foot appears to be some sort of composite. I don't know what it is made of, but it's not metal. So yes, that could be better. That would be an improvement and would make it stronger. But I've not had any problems, so it's just something I'm pointing out. So we've done the negatives first. Now, bearing in mind all of those, I still like this reel. I love this reel, actually. The pluses, but probably the biggest plus is that it's versatile because of this ratchet. The price is £99. I looked it up today on eBay, whereas I've already said the Daiwa Lexa you could get for 150. I think it's quite a nice looking reel. It's not a Shimano Tranx, you can't put it in that league. You know, they're real shiny things, beautiful works of art, aren't they? But it's not bad looking if you're out on the bank. You know, no one's going to turn their nose up it just on the looks. It's low profile, as I said, it palms well. It casts beautifully. This will cast your lure miles. In fact, further than some of the others, surprisingly. It's decent line lay. It's not superb, but it's decent. I've not had any problems with bird's nests. It has a disengaging level wind, so when you cast, the level wind disengages, which reduces friction and I guess helps with that casting ability. The only thing you have to watch is make sure it's central before you cast, because it's self-defeating, otherwise it's going to go off to the side and out and provide more friction than reels that possibly follow. I don't know, so it's an easy enough thing to do, and if you forget, it still casts well enough anyway. Another good thing it has is a positive spool release bar. You know, it's nice and solid. It is made of plastic. There's not a lot of play in it though. It's good actually. As I said, there is a bit more plastic on the reel than some other reels, but you know. Also, I mean, here we go. I've got 3 brake blocks on. I've got no side play in the spool. If I can do it, you know, that spins nicely. That's spinning very, very smoothly. I could take more brake blocks off, spin even faster, fish that looser. But it's very smooth, this spool. I haven't put, well, I tell a lie, I have put a couple of drops of oil in it since I dropped it in the drink once. But it casts the lures a long way. I haven't done cast tests with other multipliers the same size, but I did once own I still do own a Kastking Kapstan Maximus, which I was using for my pike fishing, and I'm very happy with those reels as well. They've stood the time, which allowed me to make the choice to make the gamble of purchasing this reel from abroad. If you look on the side here, it's got its huge gear there, but it's out of the way. It doesn't get in the way when you're casting. It feels all right, you know. It's very comfortable actually, reel, when fitted to a rod. And as I say, for what I'm using it for, pike in the UK, it's more than up to the task. It's solid, it's smooth. I have had my hands on a Shimano Tranx, and you know, if you're hoping for that, it's not that, but it's actually solid and smooth. The drag is very smooth. It's a powerful drag. If you look at some of the other videos, I'll put some links on that talk about this reel. They've landed some huge fish on this reel, and you actually see them doing it on YouTube. It's got a huge main gear. I think it's an 38mm brass pinion and main gear. Stainless steel bar through the middle. Drive, I think they call it. The brakes do the job. I know it's not got magnetic as well, but the brakes do the job, and I don't suffer from bird's nests, even though it casts such good distances. The ratchet is very loud, and of course that's what makes it so versatile. It has a braid friendly spool, so no need for backing. So, you know, it's a good reel. It's performing well for me. I'm casting large swim baits, jerk baits on this reel. I'm pulling in pike with no problem at all. To be honest, for the pike that I catch, you know, the biggest I've had is sort of just over 20 pound. It's overgunned, it's well within its comfort range. But should I hook a 40 pounder one day, I'm quite confident it will bring that in, no problems at all. So to sum up, would I recommend this reel? Well, I can only go on what I've seen so far. I enjoy using it. I think it looks nice enough and it performs well. If you're someone that fishes a lot more than I do for pike more regularly, then I'd save the money and invest in a Tranx or maybe an Abu Revo Toro Beast. Weight wise, it's fairly comparable with them. There's not a problem with the weight of the reel. I've actually dropped this reel in the drink, and it's not affected its performance at all. I opened it up and had a look, and everything was fine. In fact, I left it for a month. I completely forgot I did it. It was a busy part of my life at the time, and it didn't affect it at all, which is very impressive. I know there's fresh water, not salt water. If it had been salt water, that definitely would not have been the case. So if you're fishing week in, week out, I'd save more money and buy the Shimano Tranx. But if you're fishing as often as I do, or as infrequently as I do, then for £99 I don't think you can go wrong. It's just that buying from abroad thing. Are you confident enough to take the risk and do it? I did. I actually got it for less than £99 at the time. It was first out and it was on offer and it was $79.99 and I just couldn't resist. But that's me, I can't resist a bargain. Will it, you know, has it got some stamina? Will it last the test of time? Time will tell. And I guess it's been out for about 12 months now. I haven't heard lots of bad things about this reel. I've only heard good things, even from people who were skeptical of Kastking products. I've enjoyed using this reel and reckon it's a good reel. It performs well, it does everything I ask of it well, particularly the casting. For the price, yes, I'd recommend it and say take the chance. It's £99. I know that's nothing to be scoffed at, but for what you're getting there, if you can't afford £350, £400 for a Tranks or whatever they are now, then have a go at this. And I wish you good luck. I can only say what I've seen so far, so don't hold me to it if you get a naffer. It can happen with all the reels. So I hope that helped you out in some way. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you again.